This page is the cover of Dreamcast Magazine featuring Alone in the Dark 4, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Resident Evil 3, Nemesis, and Tomb Raider Chronicles. Also teased are Floygan Brothers, Soul Reaver 2, Headhunter, and Crazy Taxi 2, along with a free cheat CD. It also mentions features on Kiss Psycho Circus, Skies of Arcadia, Capcom vs SNK, Sonic Shuffle, and Frogger 2. This page is a contents page for Dreamcast Magazine issue 17, launching in the UK on December 28th. It showcases Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain 2, and includes a free cheat CD. The page highlights upcoming articles and playtests of Dreamcast games, including Sega Marine Fishing, Sonic Shuffle, Black and White, Skies of Arcadia, Alien Front Online, Headhunter and Crazy Taxi 2. There are also ads for games and hardware. Playtests. This page is an advert for Cheats Unlimited, offering walkthroughs and cheats for over 10,000 games. It lists a huge selection of games covered, from A Bug's Life to Zombie Revenge, and includes phone numbers to call for help, depending on your age and the type of phone you're using. It also teases the latest releases added daily, and promotes the website for more content. An anime-style character stands holding a gold gun. This page, titled, You Know You've Got Soul Reaver, focuses on Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 2 for the Dreamcast. It suggests a darker alternative to cute platformers, highlighting Raziel's return and his quest for revenge against Kain. The article mentions the story picks up where the first game ended, with Kain jumping through the Chronoplast time portal, leading Raziel to chase him through time and space. It mentions new areas, enhanced abilities, and a new cast of characters, promising a special experience when the game arrives in March. The page also features smaller articles on other games, such as Floygan Brothers, Headhunter, Cannon Spike, Skies of Arcadia and Alone in the Dark 4, with some brief details and page numbers for more information. There is also a section titled, The Seventh Element, which speaks about the Soul Reaver and Elemental Forges. This page dives into the newscast section, starting with rumors of Capcom working on a Street Fighter RPG, a prospect they're keeping tight-lipped about. Sega is also mentioned to be releasing a new version of Puyo Puyo for the Zorus PDA. The rumor mill section mentions Sword and the Stone, Lightning and Thunder, and Sky's the Limit, with potential sequels on the horizon. There's also news of a Resident Evil Code, Veronica re-release and Virtua Fighter X in development for Naomi 2. Details on Shenmue 2 emerge, suggesting a whopping 6 Jugshoms. The page then shines the spotlight on Floygan Brothers, revealing that the game is still alive, and kicking with the two brothers Heugel and Moigel defending their junkyard. The gameplay involves puzzle solving and mini-games. Hot Bites offers a quip about 2001 being the end of Sega's reign, a mention about good Christmas presents and a thanks to the cover promotion staff. Cold Cuts section talks about publishers keeping games shrouded in mystery. There is also a section titled, Europe Keeps on Dreaming, detailing how more countries are getting online with Dream Arena. Finally, a preview of Virtua Striker 3 shots, noting it looks better than its predecessors, and is being developed on the Naomi 2 software. This page is a full-page advert for Worms World Party, showcasing an outlandish scene with surgeons handling a giant worm, with the tagline, A Truly Global Problem. It highlights the game's tougher worms and online gameplay. The next page features a newscast section, starting with Crazy Cabbies, covering the discovery of hidden cabs and vehicles in MSR, including buses and even a lawnmower. Next up, Space Invaders, Aliens on the Front Line is previewed, a new arcade game with online play between arcades and Dreamcasts, where players can choose to fight as humans or aliens. Then, Amusing Battles announces Spiker's Battle from Amusement Vision, the team behind Planet Harriers. Most Wanted gives a quick look at Phantasy Star Online, the Sonic compilation and Shenmue. Chapter 2. The timeline section mentions Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, Evil Twin, Cyprian's Chronicles, and Tony Hawk's Skateboarding 3. An update on Fighting Vipers 2 highlights its impending release, and new features, including new characters Mara, Can, and Del Sol. Finally, Man in the Pub offers opinions on the PlayStation 2 launch, and a riot police scene at a Mega Drive release. This page has an advertorial feel, focusing on the Exploder Cheat CD for the Dreamcast, that claims to make cheating easy. It gives instructions on how to use the disc, and also mentions that the user can enable more than one code at a time. Also included are smaller adverts for related products and shows the cheap browser UI. Some of the cheats listed include Blue Stinger, Crazy Taxi, and Hydro Thunder. The page encourages readers to try it, buy it, and mentions a telephone hotline and website for more cheat codes. On the right side of the page there is a UK charts update, sponsored by eb.uk.com, listing the UK release schedule, and also includes a guide from the editor/producer of eb.uk.com. John Austin reminisces about some video game scenario, which involves mysterious Chinese men, murder, forklifts, gangs, and an orphaned cat. Following that is the top 10 sellers on eb.uk.com, with Metropolis Street Racer holding the top spot. At the bottom, there is a competition section where readers can win 10 copies of Silent Scope, which questions, in the arcade version of the game, what type of gun is mounted on the arcade cabinet. The next page is an advertorial for PC and Dreamcast games. It features articles on No One Lives Forever, a spy adventure game, and No Escape, an ultra-violent game show, both for PC. Also featured is a preview of Headhunter for Dreamcast, and Bomberman Online, which promises online support for up to 10 players. There is text from the Headhunter preview stating, with some incredible sounding features, Headhunter could be another blockbuster game for Sega. On the right is a full-page advert featuring Tomb Raider Chronicles, issue 71 of Play magazine, including plus editions of X-Squad, Ready 2 Rumble Round 2, Crash Bash, FIFA 2001, and many more. Below the Play advert is Cheats Unlimited, and features a top walkthroughs list, including games like A Bug's Life, Aerodancing, Expendable, Fighting Force 2, MDK2, Magforce Racing, Rippin' Riders, Roadsters, Test Drive 6, Time Stalkers, and many more. At the bottom of the page, there are telephone numbers and website details to purchase products and find games. This page starts with newscasts and has a bargain basement section, highlighting Dreamcast bargains in stores and online. Amazon is mentioned for offering top games like MSR and Silent Scope for £29.99, with older games going for as cheap as £9.99. Simply Games is another site mentioned for cheap games. The page then celebrates Super Sonic as the Blue Hedgehog turns 10. The company announced Sonic Adventure 2 and a Sonic compilation spanning 2 Grindrums, potentially including Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, and 3, along with the unreleased Sonic Stream. There's also a tease for Sonic Goes on Adventure number 3, suggesting a possible Sonic Adventure 3, even before the second game's release. Next is a competition called Life's a Beach, which ties in with Leonardo DiCaprio's film, The Beach. Readers can win videos, soundtracks, and an underwater camera. Sega Goes Crazy Again covers the confirmation of Crazy Taxi 2, set in New York City, promising a harder and edgier experience. The Dreamcast is the main focus, with new objectives and minigames. Some original characters will return. There's also an article on Tambourine Man, revealing Shaka the Tambourine, a dance game featuring tambourines instead of maracas. Finally, the DCTV section presents Coronation Street Fighter, a game where Cory characters kick ass against an evil M. Bison who is trying to steal Betty's hot pot recipe. This Dreamcast magazine preview covers several upcoming titles. Confidential Mission, a spy game with light gun action, features 3 missions in diverse locations. The magazine also yearns for a return of the popular Dreamcast game nights. Into Dreams. Unfortunately, Soldier of Fortune will lack online multiplayer. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is highlighted with a local skating event. A new simulation game. Sega, pit players against monster developers. Finally, Cannon Spike is a retro shoot-'em-up with terrorist robots, featuring returning Capcom characters and 8 levels. This page of Dreamcast magazine dives headfirst into the news. The import charts section highlights that Americans are buying Shenmue, while the Japanese chart remains unchanged. The YOS Dreamcast Top 5 lists Shenmue at number 1. It's a smash baby, announces the Sega Smash Pack, a compilation of classic games, including Sonic the Hedgehog, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage 2, Phantasy Star 2, Wrestle War, Altered Beast, Vectorman, Columns, Shining Force and Revenge of Shinobi. Sega Europe, however, has no plans to release the collection, which is a bit of a shame. The Right to Your MP section discusses Eldorado Gate, an RPG experiment by Capcom, released in chapters. There's speculation about whether it will ever leave Japan. Sega Gets Mashed covers Sega's Spud Dive 2K event, where people dove into mashed potatoes. Traveler's Checks details Sega's plan to integrate a chip into DVD players and set-top boxes for playing Dreamcast games without the console, and Sega's move into India. Finally, Fantasyland promotes Phantasy Star Online with extras and merchandise. This page features 2 games, Sega Marine Fishing and Rainbow Six. The Sega Marine Fishing section previews the game, highlighting its improved features, minigames, and the addition of an aquarium. It suggests it's the ultimate fishing experience, even if you don't fancy soggy sandwiches in the rain. It's noted that the game has an anticipation rating of 80%. Rainbow Six is also previewed, noting the game's depth, realism, and the potential need for a mouse and keyboard. The game has an anticipation rating of 75%. It also mentions the game would be much better if you could use a mouse and keyboard with it. The next page features a preview of Sonic Shuffle for the Dreamcast. The article jokes about Sega's inspiration from Mario Party, highlighting the game's board game style and minigames featuring Sonic Adventure characters, including Dr. Robotnik, and a new character named Void. The preview explains the card-based movement system and the strategic element of choosing cards, even from opponents. There's a brief mention of the single-player story mode, and a Sonic Room feature which is described as bizarre. The game's anticipation rating is 80%. Screenshots show various minigames and in-game scenes. Beside this is a black-and-white Dreamcast Diary update, covering the village and world simulation aspects of the game. It details how choices affect your alignment as a god, presenting a scenario where players must decide whether to help a young maiden or take a more selfish route to obtain a keystone. Sega. This page features Skies of Arcadia. It declares this Dreamcast title to be comparable in scale to Final Fantasy V2. The preview presents the game as a pirate adventure. The storyline involves rescuing a girl, gathering moon crystals, and battling the Valiant Empire. A few features such as airship exploration, discovering hidden treasures, ship-to-ship battles, and mystical powers are all showcased. The preview assures readers that anyone who plays the game will be impressed by its graphics. The text also mentions pirates who attack you, and that you must be ready to pick your jaw up off the floor. The next page presents a preview for Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare. The author jokes about needing clean underpants due to the frights the game will deliver. It highlights the game's shift from a Victorian setting to a more modern one, drawing comparisons to the Blair Witch Project. Edward Carnby, the protagonist, has been revamped with a contemporary look, complete with long hair, a trench coat, and jeans. The arsenal of weapons has also been upgraded, with mentions of the disc launcher, laser gun, plasma torch, and photopulsar. The game promises menacing, foreboding, and gothic elements. It also touches on the improved graphics and creepy creatures. There's even a mention of playing as 2 characters, Aileen Sedrak and Edward Carnby. The next page features a preview of Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare. The writer humorously suggests purchasing extra underpants in anticipation of the game's scares. It discusses the shift in setting from the original's mysterious Shadow Island, and notes how the game has been kitted out with weaponry that wouldn't look out of place in the next Matrix movie. The game promises stunning graphics, eerie sound effects, and a strong storyline to be released in March. The page also refers to the collector's cards, and the Alone in the Dark website address. Rendo. This page is a feature article titled Let's Get It On, comparing the Sega Dreamcast and Sony PlayStation 2. It playfully sets up a boxing match scenario to illustrate the competition between the 2 consoles. The article hints at a David versus Goliath situation, positioning the Dreamcast as an underdog, fighting against the more expensive and threatening PlayStation 2. The author intends to explore why the Dreamcast shouldn't be written off, despite the PlayStation 2's hype and market presence. The next page continues the head-to-head comparison between the Dreamcast and PlayStation 2, with 3 rounds of comparison. Round 1, price tag notes the Dreamcast is priced at £150, while the PlayStation 2 is £300. Round 2, Retro Man, discusses the ability to play older games, noting Dreamcast's Bleemcast software allows play of PlayStation games at higher resolutions, while the PlayStation 2 has backwards compatibility. Round 3, Special Features, covers online capabilities and DVD playback, concluding that the Dreamcast is a better choice for gamers focused on gaming, while the PlayStation 2 is more of a lifestyle accessory. The page includes a technical specifications table comparing both consoles, highlighting key differences in CPU, graphics processor, memory, and special features. It also features the quote, "The Dreamcast is a bloody good machine with some really great games." This page continues the comparison between the Dreamcast and PlayStation 2, titling this section Clash of the Titans and stating, "So which system really has the best games? We put them through a head-to-head." Warrington the magazine compares several games head-to-head. Soul Calibur is pitted against Tekken Tag Tournament with Soul Calibur winning. Metropolis Street Racer is compared to Ridge Racer 5, with Metropolis Street Racer coming out on top. Quake 2 iArena is up against Timesplitters, but Timesplitters wins. NFL 2K1 goes against Madden, NFL 2001 with NFL 2K1 taking the victory. Finally, Phantasy Star Online is matched against Final Fantasy X with Phantasy Star Online winning this round. NFF. The author states, if you're after the best games console this year and for the foreseeable future, it has to be the Dreamcast, and Sega will have a lot of work to do if it wants to remain king of the ring. The winner is Dreamcast. The page also has a section titled Dream On, listing a number of games like Floygan Brothers, Headhunter, Planet Harriers, 18-Wheeler, American Pro Trucker, Virtua Fighter X, Crazy Taxi 2, Gun Valkyrie, Picasso, 100 Swords, Evil Twin, Cyprian's Chronicles, Grandia 2, Agartha, Stupid Invaders, Commandos 2, Grand Prix 3, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Planet of the Apes, Soldier of Fortune, Star Wars, Super Bombad Racing and Tropico. This page is titled, A Year of Dreams, and previews upcoming Sega Dreamcast games for 2001. The author is convinced that Sega will continue to dominate the gaming landscape. Games highlighted include Phantasy Star Online, Sonic Adventure 2, Daytona USA 2001, Outrigger, Skies of Arcadia, Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, Black and White, Unreal Tournament, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 2, and Confidential Mission. Each game has a brief description and its publisher and release date. Finally, Team Dreams asks what Dreamcast Magazine staff are looking forward to. The staff includes Simon Phillips, Alex Warren, Martin Mathers and Nick Trent. They discuss their favorite position, favorite game and what they are most looking forward to. The page ends with a quote from Stuart Ledger, PR guru for Sega, emphasizing the Dreamcast's high quality, original software, and its strength in online functionality. This page features a review of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 for the Dreamcast. The magazine staff, under the heading Dream Team, share their thoughts on the future. The Dreamcast opinion section gives an overall score, with visuals, sounds, gameplay, and value rated individually, resulting in an overall score of 66%. The summary states it's not as bad as you might think, but still not enough to warrant more than a few days' play. There are also mini-reviews of other Dreamcast games, including Tokyo Highway, Challenge 2, Mr. Driller, Army Men, Sarge's Heroes, 102 Dalmatians, Chicken Run, Capcom vs SNK, Tomb Raider Chronicles, Frogger 2, Swampy's Revenge, MTV Sports Skateboarding, Kiss Psycho Circus, The Nightmare Child, Resident Evil 3, Nemesis, and Donald Duck, Quack Attack. This page presents a review of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 for the Dreamcast. The reviewer notes that it's a step up from the original, with more air and tricks, plus a park editor to create your own skate spots. They even joke about a staff member owning a PlayStation, committing the ultimate sin. They praise the large selection of skaters and tracks, improved objectives, and the smash and grab mode. Overall, they are pretty stoked, giving it an overall score of 132% better than the original, as they cheekily put it. The next page features a review of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 for the Dreamcast, with screenshots showing off various tricks. The game is praised for honing the original concept to near perfection, and for its improved visuals and sound. Music from artists such as Naughty by Nature, Bad Religion and Anthrax are also mentioned. A section highlights the dedication needed to complete the game, mentioning a Spider-Man character. The game receives a stellar 96% rating, with high marks for visuals, sounds, gameplay and value. It's summed up as the finest skateboarding game in existence, until Tony Hawk 3 arrives. This page features a review of Tokyo Highway Challenge 2. The reviewer describes the game as challenging, set on the highways of Tokyo. The game apparently does not allow the player to speed too much, despite this being a racing game. The review talks about racing other cars, winning upgrades and avoiding the cops, as well as customizing vehicles. One particularly annoying aspect is the difficulty in finding someone to race. The reviewer also finds the lack of a multiplayer mode to be a glaring omission. Karen. The page includes a Tokyo toilet guide, mentioning a website with reviews of public lavatories. There are also screenshots from the game, and info-burst facts, stating the game has 180 kilometers of track and that it has different names in Japan and America. The next page dives deeper into Tokyo Highway Challenge 2, with the reviewer Alex Warren giving his opinions on this racing game, suggesting it's good looking, despite some graphical hitches, and best enjoyed if you are of Japanese persuasion. The page highlights the sticker customization feature, allowing players to add stickers to their car. There's also a Dreamcast rating breakdown, grading visuals, sounds, gameplay, and value. The page then has an advert section for various games, including Exhibition of Speed and Stupid Invaders. This includes special offers on Dreamcast consoles. There is a cutout order form and contact details for Game Over UK. This page features a review of Mr. Driller for the Dreamcast. It humorously notes the unlikely premise of a pink romper-suited driller saving the world. It praises the game's addictive gameplay, simple concept, and arcade-style challenges. The reviewer notes there is a lack of multiplayer modes, which would have elevated the experience. The page also has screenshots from gameplay, as well as highlights the modes of play. There is a judgment on the game, stating the thrillers are how addictive the game is as well as brilliant fun to play, while the killer states that it is going to leave your thumbs covered in blisters, and that the game features no online or multiplayer options to add to its longevity. There's a section recommending alternative puzzle games, Choo Choo Rocket, and Weetrix Plus. A Dreamcast rating provides a breakdown of visuals, sounds, gameplay, and value, giving it an overall score of 80%. This page features a review of Army Men, Sarge's Heroes, for the Dreamcast. It's described as an episode of The X-Files, due to little green men running around shooting their loads. It notes the game's conception as a blend of hidden and dangerous and Toy Commander. It comments on the 4-player deathmatch mode, offering laughs despite not reaching Quake 2i standards, and the graphics being solid but not outstanding for the Dreamcast. The reviewer humorously notes the shocking enemy eye, making stealth less necessary. There's a section on character selection and customization via color schemes, with the reviewer Riley pointing out the benefit of choosing a color that best hides bloodstains. InfoBurst provides extra information, including the average age of a status Marine in Vietnam, and someone buying a flamethrower to make flame-grilled Whoppers. The judgment section calls the deathmatch mode damned cool and clean fun. However, the game is old and lacks Dreamcast exclusive features, with the graphics rated as rather poor. The second opinion section suggests the game relies on the Army Men license rather than originality, and suggests looking elsewhere for a gaming pleasure. Alternatively recommends Toy Story 2 and Toy Commander as alternatives. The Dreamcast rating gives the game an overall score of 61%, noting that it doesn't offer anything new. This page presents a review of 102 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue for the Dreamcast. The reviewer questions the desire to save the puppies from Cruella de Vil yet again. The review describes the game as a movie-based title that doesn't quite live up to the film, following Domino and Oddball as they rescue their siblings. It mentions the 16 levels, mini-games, and collection objectives, noting that the camera angles can be problematic and the graphics are blocky. The judgment section notes that the game is cute, has good music, and features interesting mini-games, but suffers from poor camera angles, limited appeal to older players, and uninspired graphics. The second opinion suggests the game is dull and aimed at very young players. Alternatives suggested are Cow the Kangaroo and Rayman 2. The Dreamcast rating gives the game an overall score of 66%, recommending it only for young children who enjoy dogs. Additional info mentions spots and puberty, as well as Christmas. This page delivers a review of Chicken Run for the Dreamcast, questioning its stance on cruelty within the British meat trade, tongue-in-cheek of course. The reviewer describes the game as a film tie-in where you play as Ginger the Hen, Rocky the Cock, and the rat duo Nick and Fetcher, in a Metal Gear Solid-style escape. It mentions sneaking around a farmyard collecting items, with some simple minigames based on scenes from the film. The reviewer highlights the slightly sinister Nazi death camp analogy, jokingly stating that it's ultimately a kid's game, but then points out the dogs seem to have no noses. The judgment section highlights delightful visuals, sneaky tactics similar to Metal Gear Solid, and talking chickens. The downsides include stupid enemy AI, repetitive gameplay, and poor subgames. The second opinion suggests the game is uninspired and better to stick with the movie, with it not working as well as hoped. Alternative games suggested are Jedi Power Battles and Disney's Dinosaur. The Dreamcast rating gives the game an overall score of 72%. This page features a review of Capcom vs SNK for the Dreamcast. The reviewer is rather impressed, claiming it's one of the best presented fighting games around. They note that Capcom has redesigned the SNK characters, and vice versa. The game offers two fighting styles, the regular super bars of Street Fighter, and the SNK Groove, which allows you to charge your power bar. Defeating Geese Howard, the final boss, is a challenge, with a dramatic skyscraper finale if you manage to succeed. The Judgment section highlights the tons of options and characters, and zero loading times between fights. The Second Opinion praises the presentation, controls, and solid fighters. Alternative games mentioned are Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Street Fighter II Third Strike. The Dreamcast rating gives the game an impressive 91%, praising the visuals, sounds, gameplay, and overall value. The next page presents a review of Tomb Raider Chronicles. The reviewer sarcastically questions whether core design can breathe new life into the franchise, suggesting it's become tired and predictable. The review mentions, the game involves recollections of Lara's exploits, with levels featuring teenage Lara fighting ghouls and dogs. The reviewer feels that the series has become a cliché. There's an info box with a quip about the next Tomb Raider title not being called Tomb Raider, and another about a Dutchman who cycled to meet Lucy Clarkson, the model for Lara Croft. In a side panel, there is a comment on Lara Croft's image, suggesting that some models who portray her are not what they seem, and are actually in their mid-30s and should get a job. The page includes a Dreamcast information box, listing the game's publisher as Eidos, developer as Core Design, genre as Arcade Adventure, and a price of £34.99, and notes arcade stick compatibility. There is also some text with an image of Lara, stating she is young, fit and virginal, and getting damp. This page reviews Tomb Raider Chronicles for the Dreamcast, and the reviewer is less than impressed, mentioning the now tedious rope swinging, the lack of originality, and criticizing the character model's looks. The reviewer has a strong opinion, mentioning the game is cliché. There's a Dreamcast opinion panel with jokes in the Judgment section and a score of 70%. There is an advert for Dreamcast games at dreamy prices with titles like Disney's Dinosaur, Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation, and Rayman 2. The page also advertises titles for the PlayStation 1, PS2, N64, and Game Boy Color. Games like Carmageddon and Mario Tennis are included. Additionally, there is an advert for chart music CDids. It also invites readers to visit MX2 online or phone for a free brochure. This page features a review of Frogger 2, Swampy's Revenge, for the Dreamcast. The reviewer notes its simplicity and ease, finishing the story mode quickly, and jokes that it may be too easy, unless you have no gaming skills. There is a recommendation to rent before buying. The review includes a Dreamcast opinion panel with light-hearted judgments on the game. There is also a Plague of Frogs section discussing the multiplayer mode. Alternatively, Gauntlet Legends and Cow the Kangaroo are suggested. The Dreamcast rating includes scores for visuals, sounds, gameplay, and value, with an overall score of 66%. This page features a review of MTV Sports, skateboarding featuring and Sisti McDonald. The reviewer questions whether it can compete with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, criticizing the slow frame rate and unresponsive controls. Despite having many modes, characters, and levels, the reviewer considers the gameplay soul-destroying and ultimately not as enjoyable as Tony Hawk's. There's a Force Fun section highlighting the 4-player mode, a Music for the Jilted Generation section discussing the in-game music, and a Dreamcast opinion panel summarizing judgments of the game. The judgment scores the game based on visuals, sounds, gameplay, and value, achieving an overall score of 68%. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and Dave Mirra Pro BMX are offered as alternatives. This page features a review of Kiss Psycho Circus, The Nightmare Child. The reviewer questions the decision to include the band Kiss in a video game, likening the game to a Quake clone. They criticize the missing PC lighting and speech, and the lack of online multiplayer. The gameplay is described as plodding and obvious, and the game is unfavorably compared to Quake II Arena, scoring 67% overall. There's also a Kiss Your Ass Goodbye section discussing the weapons available in the game. The Dreamcast opinion panel features judgments of the game. Quake II Arena and Half-Life are offered as alternatives. This page features a review of Resident Evil 3, Nemesis on the Dreamcast. The reviewer notes Capcom's trend of porting older PlayStation games to the Dreamcast, sarcastically calling it 3 strikes and you're out. They point out that Nemesis actually takes place before Resident Evil 2, despite being numbered as the third game. The reviewer criticizes the game's confusing and meandering nature, dodgy visual glitches, and puzzles. They recommend Code Veronica as a superior Resident Evil experience. A Dreamcast opinion panel summarizes judgments of the game. Alternatives suggested are Resident Evil, Code Veronica, and Dino Crisis. The game receives an overall score of 68%. A small info box reflects on the series of Resident Evil games. This page features a review of Donald Duck, Quack Attack for the Dreamcast. The reviewer expresses some bewilderment at the concept of Donald Duck as a starring character, questioning the sanity of those who created him. The review suggests the game is generic but decent, and visually pleasing. If you lined the game up with games such as Cow the Kangaroo and Crash Bandicoot, you probably couldn't tell them apart. The reviewer says this will appeal to younger gamers or those who like a simple challenge. A section called The Do's and Don'ts of Disney encourages developers to include recognizable characters. The Do section highlights Donald Duck, Quack Attack for using familiar faces, while the Don't section pokes fun at Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour for including obscure characters. The Dreamcast opinion panel rates the game as being fun, but too easy, and unoriginal. Alternative games suggested are Rayman 2, The Great Escape, and Cow the Kangaroo. The game receives an overall score of 71%. The page includes some extra information about Donald Duck games and characters. Oru. This page is an advertorial, and a bit of a mixed bag at that. First up, if you're after some heavily discounted condoms, then GiveMeCondoms.com has got you covered. Next, Indonesia are selling consoles and accessories directly from Asia. Xenium.com claims to be the UK's largest discounter of games, music and computer products. MX2 is advertising dreamiest prices for Rayman 2, The Great Escape. If you're looking for the best Dreamcast coverage, then SegaWeb.com may be worth a look. Condom Boutique encourages you to play it safe this Christmas. And finally, Iconophone.com allows you to change that ringtone and personalize your Nokia mobile. The next part of the page is Interact, which is the place where the readers get to have their say in the magazine. Nokia Mobile. The Stuff and Nonsense section features a collection of toys to look at. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 gets a guide, which is handy if you want to skate and not die. Boring. There are also regular sections, such as Mailbox, Reader Reviews, Directory, Dream On, and Dream Moment. The next page is the Mailbox section where readers share their thoughts. One reader expresses frustration with Sega Europe's inability to establish internet access for the Dreamcast in Denmark, preventing them from playing Quake 2i online. Sega offered compensation in the form of free games, such as Virtua Tennis, Metropolis Street Racer and Crazy Taxi, or a full refund. Another reader, a converted PlayStation fan, acknowledges the Dreamcast's strengths, but questions Sega's decisions regarding the modem and game pricing. Matt Burton comments on the lack of Dreamcast games available to rent at Blockbuster. Sega is delivering a console with a modem that is perfect for the job, and the Dreamcast is the console to go with. Rente. Matthew Ellison shares his positive experience switching to Dreamcast, praising its performance and game catalog. He encourages others to ignore the hype surrounding other consoles. Desperately in need of some help, features Ratman Dennis listing his game collection. The Number of the Beast tells a humorous story about being denied credit at Dixon's to buy a Dreamcast. The Japanese Whispers section relays rumors from Gameplay.com about the Japanese potentially ditching the Dreamcast. The Shortcuts section provides humorous snippets from readers, including some random thoughts and comments on Dreamcast games. This page features a reader reviews section, with 4 Dreamcast games reviewed by readers. First up is WWF Royal Rumble, slammed by Oliver Scott, who found the gameplay repetitive. Next, Resident Evil, Code Veronica, gets a glowing review from SRMD Yusuf, who praises the graphics and Claire Redfield's attractiveness, but criticizes the third-person view and controls. Soul Calibur is hailed as the best beat-em-up of all time by Andy Middlemas, who raves about the graphics and the combat system. Finally, MDK2 is recommended by James Bird for those seeking a challenge, praising its atmosphere and design. The page also has some adverts for DVDs, with special interest in Indian films, and a GameStation advert offering to buy and trade in cash for old consoles and games. They were selling Shenmue, Metropolis Street Racer, Jet Set Radio, Silent Scope and Ready to Rumble 2, and Quake 3, and also buying used consoles. Finally, it shows how to contact the publication with reviews and the prize available for every review printed, a free Mad Catz Dreampad. This page dives into the Dreamcast's online capabilities and some interesting websites to check out. It highlights how to connect and navigate the Dream Arena, Sega's online platform, with a shortcut menu of left and right shoulder buttons. There's a free to do what you want section promoting freeloader.com as a source of free games, despite some being for PC. The film section features Final Fantasy Movie, Tomb Raider Movie, and Mortal Kombat, highlighting their web presence and content. The music section recommends the Pixie Tree, Blur, and Our Mate Chandra's Band. Moving into comedy, The Library, Top of the Pop Gossip, and Sod Off, I'm a Rock Star. Then rounding off the page, the Weird section suggests Dim Madness, A Whole World of Hurt, and I'll Name That Object in 20. Finally, there's a competition to win top DVDs by answering a question related to Gladiator actor Russell Crowe, plus a phone number for Dreamcast Game Help, costing £1.50 per minute. The next page is packed with cheat codes and tips for several games. Ready 2 Rumble Boxing Round 2 has codes to unlock Fat, Skinny and Zombie boxers, along with Giant Gloves and the Clintons, plus costumes for special days. Looney Tunes Space Race features a list of unlockable characters and cheats, with a few gameplay tips on turbo canisters and using gags. Army Men, Sarge's Heroes, includes level passwords. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 has a hefty list of cheats for unlocking characters like Spider-Man and Officer Dick, modes, and enhancing skater abilities, as well as unlockable FMV sequences. Finally, there's some cheat codes for Moho to unlock prisons, and the display version number. On the right, Classic Cheats offers guidance for Resident Evil Code, Veronica, including how to access Battle Mode, play as Steve Burnside or Albert Wesker, and acquire powerful weapons like the Linear Launcher and Rocket Launcher. This page is a queue and a section where gamers seek advice. One player seeks help with Virtua Tennis and unlocking the final outfits, and is advised to master the 8 training games in World Circuit mode and conquer other challenges. Another gamer needs assistance in Resident Evil Code, Veronica, stuck on the Steve boss fight, and is told to use first aid spray and learn to evade him, ultimately sealing him behind a cage door. A Fur Fighters player is lost in Australia and needs help with Rufus, and is instructed on the proper use of dynamite to blow up tanks and open doorways. Finally, a Star Wars Episode 1 racer player asks about unlocking secret characters and is advised to win races using the winner-takes-all feature. There is also a side panel advertising the Beat Bizarre Creations Challenge, sponsored by Joytech. Gamers need to beat specified lap times in Metropolis Street Racer and send in photographic proof. A Dreamcast Solutions magazine advert and Cheats Unlimited Gaming Help advert also feature on the page. The next page is a strategy guide for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on Dreamcast. The guide includes tips on how to complete goals in the hangar level, find secret areas, and collect skate letters. It also lists the controls, character stats and special tricks for Tony Hawk, Bob Burnquist, Steve Caballero, and Kareem Campbell. This page continues the strategy guide for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, focusing on the School 2 level. It provides tips on completing goals, such as collecting skate letters and ringing the wall ride bells. The guide details locations for hall passes and a secret area, with tips on how to access it. There are also character stats and special tricks listed for Rune Glifberg, Eric Coston, Bucky Lasek, Rodney Mullen and Chad Musker, with their skate styles and various special tricks. The page includes a section for Marseille level and 100% goals and cash. The next page of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 guide focuses on the New York City level. It gives tips on completing various goals, such as high scores, pro scores, 6 scores, and collecting the letters to spell skate. The guide offers specific letter locations, hydrant locations, and token locations. Plus, there's advice on grinding subway rails and finding the secret tape. Character stats and special tricks are listed for Alyssa Steamer, Jamie Thomas, Andrew Reynolds, and Jeff Rowley. Also featured are tips on nollies, switching and fakies. This page continues the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 guide, now focusing on the graffiti pits level. There are tips for achieving high scores, pro scores, 6 scores, and collecting the letters to spell skate. The letter locations are detailed, along with the locations of spray cans and how to pull off certain tricks. Additionally, the page highlights the secret areas within the level, giving instructions on how to access them. Finally, there are tips to collect all cash and goals for 100% completion. The next page is still all about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, this time with the Philadelphia level. It's got the usual goals like high score, pro score, 6 score, and spelling out skate. There are tips on finding letter locations, 5 bells, draining the fountain, blunt sliding the awning, performing lip tricks in the skate park, and locating the secret tape, and how to reach that 100% cash and goals completion. It even touches on how to access the secret areas, and a brief strategy for the bullring competition in Mexico. Sounds like a right old skate-a-thon. This page is a mixed bag of adverts and import information. Project K are pushing import video games and accessories, with a focus on Dreamcast gear. There's the tantalizing promise of converting your DC to play all games via a 4-wire solo chip, plus joypad adapters, VGA cables, and a range of USA and Japanese import titles. Naples Game Gear proclaims to have thousands of games in stock for various consoles. Maxfoot advertises big trainers in sizes 12 to 19, and new ringtones and graphics encourage you to pimp your Nokia mobile with new sounds. King Cat Entertainment advertises games and consoles available via mail order or the web, and lastly, Direct Intel touts unbeatable prices on PlayStation and Dreamcast hardware and games. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. Bonnie V. Durangton Zune. This page features a directory section offering reviews and opinions on various Dreamcast games. The most played section highlights Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and Skies of Arcadia. The page then dives into mini reviews of games across genres, including Power Stone 2, Psychic Force 2012, Quake 2 I-Arena, and Racing Simulation, Monaco Grand Prix, with a short comment on each. The CD reviews section covers More Cold Feet and True Stepping True Steppers, and Dusted, When We Were Young, with a brief overview and rating. The page finishes with smaller sections dedicated to action/adventure, beat-em-up, driving/racing, party/puzzle, shoot-em-up, sports and strategy/simulation genre games, and briefly covers the comic book wrestling and Star Wars. The next page continues the game directory, offering mini-reviews of Dreamcast titles. The reviewers' opinions are included for games like the Nomad Soul, Time Stalkers, and Tokyo Highway Challenge. There's a re-evaluation section called The Second Coming, taking a look back at Tony Hawk's Skateboarding and SWWS Euro Edition, revising their original scores. A further brief overview of Four Wheel Thunder is included with a similar adjustment. Finally, there's an advert for Dreamcast colored controllers in green, blue, orange, and yellow, tempting you to treat yourself after Christmas. This page features a stuff and nonsense section with quirky gadgets. It showcases a range of items, from a Samsung digital system and blow-up RC car, to a virtual reality motor racing setup, and a shark-shaped bottle opener. Other oddities include a bubble gun, a flipper clock, a UFO disc shooter, an action sampler camera, and Samsung Fashion TV CR televisions. It's a light-hearted look at some unusual and fun products for the post-Christmas period. The next page features an advert for Lots in Store. On the left, there's a rather suggestive image with a man and a bottle of Paco Rabanne X fragrance, with the tagline, "Stop Thinking." The advert promotes sales with a sales hotline and contact details and special offers on Dreamcast consoles and bundles. It also has a comprehensive list of Dreamcast games and accessories with their prices, including classics like Crazy Taxi and Soul Calibur, along with accessories like joypads and memory cards. It assures customers of no hidden charges, includes a cut-out order form, a money-back guarantee, and a competition to win an MP3 player. Payment methods are also listed, including PC games, Dreamcast, and Visa. This page is the contents page of Dreamcast Magazine, issue 17. At the top are the magazine's key selling points, reviewing UK, Japanese, and American games, providing cheats and tips, hosting competitions, and delivering the latest news. There's a reservation form to request a copy of the magazine and details about the publisher, Paragon Publishing. The main feature is Daytona USA 2001, with screenshots and the promise of the latest information on these great games, including Jambo Safari, Emergency Call Ambulance, Star Wars, Super Bombard Racing, Planet Harriers, Sonic Adventure 2, Macross Origins, and Black and White. Hey Gay. Reviewed next issue, teases upcoming reviews of Star Lancer, ECW Anarchy Rules, Sonic Shuffle, Skies of Arcadia, Spawn, In the Demon's Hand, and Surf Rocket Racers. Solutions next issue, hints at a walkthrough for Quake 2 iArena and cheats for Tomb Raider Chronicles, Donald Duck, Quack Attack, MTV Skateboarding and more. The next page has a subscription offer for Dreamcast Magazine, promising savings of up to £10 on a top game. It showcases covers from issues 1 to 16, highlighting the featured games and reviews. You have titles like Soul Calibur, Shadow Man, Resident Evil 2, Crazy Taxi, MDK2, Half-Life, Shenmue, Daytona 2, and more. It also provides options for subscribing, payment methods, and a back issues order form. The page features adverts for swapserve.com, Computers 2 Games, visionscape.co.uk, and smokeinmermaid.com. Also featured is a cheeky advert for Forbidden Knowledge, which is supposedly censored by the ASA. BC. This page features a dream moment from Shenmue, highlighting Ryo's departure from Tokyo. The text discusses his pursuit of Lan Di, the killer of his father, and his final confrontation with Chai. There is a small screenshot. The page also includes Dreamcast Magazine's contact information for editorial, design, advertising, production and distribution, international marketing, and directors. It mentions Paragon Publishing, subscription rates, and printer details. Additionally, there's a spread advert for ukgames.com, promoting discounted Dreamcast games, DVD films, and computer supplies. It advertises Dreamcast consoles bundled with games and essential accessories. The titles mentioned include Half-Life, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, NFL Blitz, F355 Challenge, WWF Royal, Shenmue, and MSR. There is a free Incredible offer as well for joining Special Reserve.